Hello everyone, welcome to the floor of my craft room. It's not actually messy, I'm just on the floor because I'm a chaos person. This is going to be a quick tutorial on how to make, where'd it go? There it is, on how to make these. These are, if it would focus, these are clear film stickers, quotation marks. I'm making one quotation mark with my finger. They're not actually adhesive, they are just things printed on a clear film, and then there is a holo deco film applied to the toner. To explain how it all works, I'm going to go through the process after telling you what you all need, if it would focus again. What you need to do this, it's actually pretty simple. The main component is over here, also on the floor, just like me. It's a printer that prints with toner. So that is important because when you print these, you want it to have all black toner, just plain black toner. Just like these, they're just plain, no color, plain black toner. And what you're printing on, I just use these. There's tons of other brands of clear film, but it's clear film for an inkjet computer, and it's printer, and it's the brand Computer Graphics. I buy this on Amazon. There will be a link in the description. So that's what this is on. There's been a little piece cut off because I just used it in my resin. And this is kind of an example of what those look like. It really does not like to focus on the holo. So the second thing you'll need, was I saying second? I guess I was trying to say second most important thing you will need is this heat reactive deco film. This is the Mink brand in the color Iridescent. They have a color called Holographic, but I don't like it. It's kind of a weird sparkly textured holographic. I don't know. I like this one the best. There are other heat reactive deco film brands. This is the only one that has like a true shiny holo that I really enjoy. Last but not least, not even last because I have one more thing. This is just a regular run-of-the-mill thermal laminator. It's just from Amazon Basics. It has a couple settings off, 3mm and 5mm. And that's kind of important. You do want it to have at least a 5mm setting, if not both. I'll explain later. And this is actually probably the dumbest thing ever, but also one of the most important things ever. So with a regular laminator, you cannot use a cold pouch, is what they're called, a cold pouch. That's just when you put a piece of paper, let's just say I'm putting a piece of paper into this cold pouch and then I'm like running it through the laminator. That won't work. What's going to happen is it won't adhere the heat reactive film to the toner correctly. It'll just kind of melt and then you'll be left with sadness. So this is just regular parchment paper, not wax paper, parchment paper. For some reason I bought the like Reynolds brand. I don't know why. You don't need to. You just need regular parchment paper. And as you notice, this is in the shape of a pouch. So it's two-layered and it's folded. That's what two-layered means. Like one of the pouches you would regularly get to laminate. Except this will not laminate anything. This will just act as a protective barrier between this sheet and then we're going to open this, this sheet of Mink heat reactive film. So they will adhere together properly, but nothing will adhere to the parchment paper. So that's basically the process. I'm going to show you what I do as best as I can because I'm filming this on my phone like a true chaos person. So yeah, let me see if I can show you how this process works. You can see here I have cut my deco film. It's very thin, so you have to be careful because it will tear very easily. I did not use this box cutter. I used these super small crap scissors, but they did the job. And I just cut it almost exactly to size. It doesn't have to be perfect, obviously. I just wanted to not waste as much as I can because this shit's expensive. So what I'm going to do is you take your clear film and you make sure that the toner side is up. So when you print on, there's cat hair on it. When you print on these, it'll have a kind of a gritty side. The gritty side is the part that you want to be printing on. The instructions are all on this, whatever brand of clear film that you get. The instructions will be on the bottom. But for mine, the gritty side is the side that I want facing up because that is where the toner is. So you want to just lay that in your pouch. Try to get it all centered and nice. I don't know why I'm doing this on the floor like a piece of crap, but it's like that. And then you want to lay your clear film. You want to lay your film, your foil rather, on top perfectly. Just try to straighten it as much as possible. I'm going to straighten this off better off camera because it's wrinkly. And then what you're going to do is sandwich it all together. And this is how you're going to run it through your laminator. Now this step is super important apparently. I've not tried it without this step and I'm afraid to, but I have heard that you should always set it on 5 milliliter. There's like a little switch back here and I set it on 5 mil. That's the hottest setting because it's the thickest setting. You want to do that because you want this to kind of like flash heat. Like you want it to just like melt completely on there because otherwise you'll get lifting and then it won't adhere correctly all the way. You can kind of see it with this. This I did not use a laminator for and it absolutely refused to focus. You can kind of see like the little splotches and imperfections, and that's because I used an iron. You can totally use a regular clothes iron if you want. It works. It's just a lot harder and it won't be as clean because if you notice there's like little tiny black specks, you probably wouldn't have really noticed them if I didn't like zoom you in real close. But that's what happens when you use an iron. It's just an imperfect process. That's the word I was looking for. But as you can see, oh, it's stuck on tape. This is the one that I laminated, and it's still a little bit imperfect. This is my first time doing it. I'm sure I'll get better at applying the film. But yeah. So I'm going to straighten this out. It's really important that you flatten it out. I would do it, but I have one hand, so it's important that you smooth this out so it makes perfect contact with your clear film. So I will be right back. So here we are, we're loading it into the machine. You notice I completely flattened it out. It is flush. There's like a tiny bit poking up, but that's okay. As long as most of it is covered and protected from the heat. You want to line it up with the letter portion because that's how big I made my pouch. If you made yours smaller, then that's fine. But we want to lead it in with the curled over edge, so the doubled over edge. So the loose edge or open edge is on the outside. Most laminators will take a little bit and then they'll take it from you, kind of like a money reader. So I like to guide it a little bit and then you can just kind of let it go. And it'll do its thing. It's super slow, but that's what we need. That's how the heat will properly smush the two together and heat set it. So when I come back, hopefully we'll have a nice little sticker sheet. Just as a quick thing, this is actually my second time sending it through. I've been told to send it through twice just to make sure. I don't see any issues with that with the clear film. I did the other example that I had twice and it actually came out fine except for like that little mishap, but that was just because I didn't apply the foil correctly. That was my fault. And just a quick aside, I'm using clear film, so I'm using the computer graphics clear film. I used to use this white, I mean, it has a clear sticker thing on top of it, but it's like a white background sticker paper, and this is what it did to it after going through the laminator. So I'm not sure what's like going on there. I think it's just like, for some reason it gets like weird reactions with it, and it also wrinkled a whole bunch. I just didn't have a good time with it, so that makes me sad. So that's why I switched over to the clear film. It looks like it's done. It does come out kind of warm, but it's not like hella hot or anything. So I'm gonna let it cool off just a touch. I'm like casting a shadow over everything. My bad. But yeah, so quick recap. I let this heat up like for 20 minutes on the 5 mil setting, maybe even a little bit longer than that. Just because it needs to be super duper hot. It literally needs to like flash smush these together using heat. So yeah, let's take a look at the final results. I'm kind of nervous. It actually looks like it worked out pretty well. It's very smooth. So let's see if I can peel. I don't even remember what's on this corner. Ooh, ooh. That looks good to me. Oh, I can't peel it anymore. I am doing my greatest. Those look awesome so far. I'm going to peel the rest of this off. Here are the final results. They look really good. I'll put them on a background for you to see. There are a couple spots that you can see the black toner through, but that's okay. I'm sure, like I've said before, that was just a product of me not applying the film correctly. Like it was wrinkled when it went through somehow, some way. But I did put it through twice, and most of these look awesome. So there is a trick that I learned. There's like a couple little bits of excess. You can scratch those off super easily with a toothpick or something like that, because they're not attached to the toner. You can tell if you look at the back here, those little white bits are actually the foil that's not attached to anything. It's just attached to the paper. You can scrape those off super easily with a toothpick, and they won't hurt your toner piece. They won't hurt the hollow on top. Just be careful because you can scratch the clear film. But that is how I make my clear film stickers. I hope that I explained it well enough. I'm going to include some like word instructions because obviously I'm doing this on the fly. And there's lots of ums, and I'm sure that's not great to listen to. But there's my final results. I'm pretty happy with them. And I'm happy that I finally learned how to do this because it took me forever to figure out that you just need to use wax paper and not a regular laminating pouch because that's a bad time. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope that you learned something. Have a wonderful day. Bye.